Hello there, friends. Pamela here with Passionate About Scrapbooking, your Stampin' Up demonstrator in the Texas Hill Country in Fredericksburg, Texas. Welcome to my craft along card class and kit featuring the Homemade Sweetness Sweet Collection. I'm so excited that you're here joining me. This is a recording. Usually I would go live to do this, but things have been a little bit off the month of March. So I've decided to record this episode, and we will be creating a total of 5 cards today. There's a bonus card this month, so this would be a great time to place your order of $50 or more through my Stampin' Up website at passionateaboutscrapbooking.stampinup.net. You can find the link in my link tree or in the description of this video. When you place your order of $50 or more, before tax and shipping and after any stamping rewards or coupons are applied, that total should be $50, then I will send you the card kits for free in a cute little box with maybe an extra goodie or two. We'll see. Every month that's different. But this month again, we're making 5 cards, and you'll get all 5 card kits when you place that $50 or more order during the month of March. And you can also purchase the kit for just $25, and I will mail it to you as well. You'll get a PDF that includes the supplies and products that were used, along with instructions, dimensions of how to cut the paper. Even though your kit will have everything already pre-cut, you may want to purchase the suite of products and create more kits, or use what you have on hand to create additional cards. So those are some of your options. Again, all the links are in my link tree, and then you can order at passionateaboutscrapbooking.stampinup.net. So if you have any questions, be sure to let me know about that. So why don't we get started? I'm going to turn my camera down to my desk, and I'm also going to see if I can include the picture of me so you can see me and we can continue to talk. So again, this is a recording, so just feel free to comment, like and follow, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Facebook. That's where you'll find this video. The video on Facebook will be there for, well, it won't be alive, so it may be there indefinitely. I'm not sure. We'll see. And it'll be on YouTube indefinitely for sure. In addition to the PDF and what I just explained, there'll also be a link to this video. There'll be a little QR code. You can either scan it if you have it printed out, or you can just click on it from your computer or your phone on the little QR code, and it should take you to the video, no problems. If you ever have any questions about anything, you can email me at passionateaboutscrapbooking@gmail.com. All right, so let's get busy. I've got all the products laid out here, plus the kits ready to go. And we are going to be using, again, the Homemade Sweetness Sweet Collection. I have the Designer Series paper here, along with the bundle, the Filled with Sweetness bundle, and the ribbon, which is called Misty Moonlight Checkered Trim. Then we have the strawberry and dots. You'll get a sampling of these products in your kit. And then as a little bonus for the bonus card that we're doing, you'll receive some tiny bee trinkets along with some white baker's twine that's in your card kit. In the suite of products, there are the Ladybug Picnic 3D embossing folder. I will be embossing everything for you because at the time of this recording, the embossing folder is not available. And I'm also using the Just a Note bundle. Really, I'm just using the dies that are included in here, and it's this one right here. So I will have that pre-cut for you. But if you have that on hand, that may be beneficial to you in the future. Then there will also be some die cuts that I will do for you from the Made with Sweetness dies. This has a darling stamp set that goes with it that coordinates with our scrapbooking workshop kit. But I will be doing a few of the die cutting elements out of here for you as well. So we'll put that over here. And we will be using some stamping classic stamping pads, and stamping blends. So those are some of the products that will be needed. So you will need to be able to create these products or these card kits. You will definitely need the Filled with Sweetness bundle. So add that to your order if you don't have it already. And then you'll need the ink pads. If you want to do some heat embossing, you'll need some of those supplies. You could also just stamp that in one of the ink colors as well. So I think that's about it. Let me move some things around and we will get started. All right, for card number 1, we'll be recreating this card right here. This card I actually copied right from the mini catalog, I believe it was, or I think this is an online exclusive, so it's probably on the online store, and it was a card featured with the bundle, the Filled with Sweetness bundle. So I've already taught how to do this card earlier in the month, but I made a few changes with the stamping blends to coordinate with the rest of the cards. So let's get busy creating this one. And in your kit, I'm going to set this, I guess, right up here, and then we'll create right down here, I think. You'll receive your envelopes and all the pieces that you need. So we've got a standard size card base. Then we have a 4 by 5¼ inch basic white piece. This one right here is for stamping all our blueberries and strawberries on. You'll have an embossed piece of 4" and your scalloped die label and the flowers that are in Very Vanilla. So I'm just going to set all of these over here for right now. And then you'll also have some white baker's twine and those cute, darling little brass or gold bumblebees. All right. So we'll set that aside. We need this piece we need to get started with. We will go ahead and be using our Mementos Tuxedo Black ink, or any ink that you have that would work with our stamping blends. And we'll take out from the Filled with Sweetness stamp set the strawberry, and we'll stamp that 3 times. I'll show you how to color one of each, and then I'll do the rest off camera so you don't have to watch me do all of that. All right, and then we'll do the blueberries, and we'll need 4 of the blueberry clusters. You just want to leave enough room around to be able to die cut all these pieces out. If you get a heavy image like that, because maybe your ink pad is too juicy or you press down too much, maybe stamp an extra one. All right, so it's not quite as dark as that one. All right, so we'll get started with our coloring. I'll just bring all of these up here actually. And I have found that I like to add a little bit of shading, if you can see that right there. And I do that by using the dark blending stamping blend. And I'm gonna do it like that, okay? I'm going to move this up a little bit so more in the center, and I'm going to go around that twice, and then we'll fill in the rest of the strawberry. We just want this part to be darker, so you could go over it once or twice. I'm trying to be careful and color within the lines. All right, and then you can take the light strawberry slush, if I didn't mention that, and just go right through there. And that's how you get that light little line. I'll do that on all the rest here in a minute, but I'll color each one of these for you first. Okay, now we have Granny Apple Green. We'll use the dark one first. And I'm going to use the bullet point tip and just go right here and not color in the whole entire thing. I'm just going where that shading should be. So just go over those black lines right there, and then take the light brush tip. I'm just going to turn the paper so that it's easier for me to fill in. I like to go from the point toward the center. All right, and it's that easy. Super simple coloring. Now let's grab our Misty Moonlight, and we will start with the light, and I'm going to color in the blueberry top. Wouldn't consider this leaves necessarily with the light. Then I can take the dark. I guess I should have done this one too. Just on these tinier areas, I like to use the bullet point. And then I'll take the dark and color in the center. Okay. And then I'll take the bullet point. And this is where you kind of want to decide, where do you want the light to show? So I'll kind of go down here and maybe right here, and I'll leave a little bit of that. I might have colored in a little too much, but I'll leave that little bit of basic white open right there. And then I'm going to go over it again just to make this a little darker. And then you can take that light and just go over there. And there's just a little sliver. And then kind of do the same thing with this, wherever you want on here. And go over again just to make it a little bit darker. And then take that light and just barely brush it on there like that. And you can see, like on this one, it kind of blended in because it was all still wet. That's fine. It doesn't have to be. Even that one's doing it a little bit. If you want to set it aside a little bit to dry and then come back and do it, or you can even use your color lifter too if you wanted to accentuate that a little bit more, you could do that. And that's kind of what I did on here. All right, I'm going to finish these and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have everything colored. I've die cut all the pieces out, and now we will begin some assembly. How about before we do that, we go ahead and do our heat embossing. I'm going to take my anti-static pouch and just run over that very vanilla label. We'll need to pull out the stamp, Love You Very Much, and we'll do that right in the center there. This is Versamark ink that you need to, I'm going to make sure it's straight. We'll get it up here a little bit better so y'all can see it. So it puts a clear, wet ink on there. I'll use my handy dandy tweezers from the embossing toolkit. We'll bring this over here real quick so you can see how this is done. I've got my gold embossing powder, and I'll just drop that over top of it and then shake it off so it looks like that. Double check if there's any little stray pieces. If you have a little brush or something. One thing I do like to do is go ahead and get that excess powder back into the jar and put the lid back on so we don't have any accidents. And then I just usually keep everything together in my little tray here. So I can put that away now. Next, I'll need my heat gun. Give me 1 second. Let me just get it positioned so I'm comfortable and y'all can see. You can do it from the top or from the bottom. This gets super hot, but you can already start to see. Let's see if I can turn it. So there you go. See it melting that powder, and you don't want to let the heat remain on the melted powder for very long, or it will just kind of make it disappear. It'll leave the color, but then it won't be shiny. If that's the look you're going for, great. All right. Oops. I need a little holder that I can put over here on my window to stick my heat gun in so it doesn't keep falling off the window sill. All right. I think we're ready to assemble now. I'm just double checking and looking. So we'll use some green glue or your favorite glue, whatever. Before we use that though, let's grab out our baker's twine. This is from I think it's the Neutrals assortment. And I want to be careful so I don't create a knot. This piece, let me see what size this is. Let's go to 12. So it's about 35 inches long is what you're going to need. So I'm going to put a little piece of tear and tape. This is just going to help hold it in place. And I'm just going to kind of try to pick the center. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not trying to get And this is just to help kind of hold things in place, because we're going to put our bow over on this side. So I'll probably go about right there and just tack that down. And then we're just going to wrap like this 2 times, kind of get it in the center where you want it. I'm going to lay that down just so it'll kind of stick there because of that tear and tape. Bring this around and let's work on our bow. And you want your bow right in this area right there. I found that I like to try to do a knot. You could put a glue dot there if you wanted to. Okay, so I've got a knot here. Now I can do a little bow. Just kind of decide the length that you want. And then I like to trim the tails off about the same. So you end up with something like this. And now we can take our liquid glue or any type of glue that you want. Sorry about that. And then we're going to adhere it. Again, this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. So just 1/4 inch smaller. And then from here, I'm going to take this piece and we're going to add a couple of dimensionals. And I think I'm going to take one of these and we'll just do a little bit right here. That'll work. I think I'm going to move this over here, kind of out of the way, so I can get a little bit more centered and higher up on here. And then we can center this right on the card like that. And now we can take these and just glue them around that focal point, tucking some under. I didn't use any dimensionals for these. Lift up that bow. And I originally made this earlier in the month. I wasn't thinking too much about the colors. I was just kind of copying what I saw on the online exclusive store. So I originally did not use the strawberry slush, granny apple green, or the misty moonlight. I'll show you the difference here in a minute. Now, if you wanted to pop any of those up, you certainly could. And then I'll take these very vanilla flowers and just randomly tuck them under here too. I love the look of the very vanilla with the basic white. It just helps those pop a little bit. So don't be scared to combine those neutrals on occasion. There were 5 of these little flowers. All right, and then our last but not least embellishment are these cute little bees. And I would add those on using some glue dots. So there's 5 bees, so I'm just going to make sure I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. Can tear that off and then just lay those little bees right on those glue dots. And then we can pick them off with the take your pick tool. Just get up under the glue dot and let's see, let's put one over here. I'm trying to push that little glue dot like up under the bee so then you won't see it so much when I add it to the card, but it'll hold these on here really well. You can put some going up, and then of course they're going in all different directions. So then we want to put a few maybe going upside down. All right, there is card number 1. How cute that is. Here is the other version. Just so you can see, you can use different colors if you want. These were a little bit softer looking. I think I used Blueberry Bushel, Poppy Parade, maybe, and then Old Olive. All right, I'll be back with card number 2. Welcome back to card number 2 using the Misty Moonlight card base and just some simple techniques here and coloring. I think I did actually on this one some paper piecing, and I may need to grab a little bit of paper because I'm not sure I prepped that part of it. So I was thinking it looks so good. It looks like it's colored. All right, so there's our base. Let's do our prep first. And we've got that piece that's already embossed. So we'll stamp there and that'll be it. This is going to be a super quick card. All right. Hold, please. All right, I got those 2 little pieces. This is designer series paper, the strawberry slush on the back, and then some granny apple green cardstock. And we will stamp the strawberry 3 times actually on each one of these pieces. So first we'll stamp it on the white. I'm going to tilt it so that I can die cut it out easily. Okay, and then we will stamp it on the Granny Apple Green and on this small piece of the Designer Series paper. You'll receive all these pieces in your kit. Why don't we go ahead while we're stamping and we'll stamp in the Misty Moonlight, the thank you sentiment on this label right here. I wanted to show you real quick this piece right here. Whoops, I just got ink all over it. I may have to do another one, but it's this label right here, okay? And then I just trimmed off that little piece. So, all right, I'm not sure if I got that recorded or not, but I stamped the strawberries on those 3 pieces because we're going to do a little bit of paper piecing. And then I'm going to stamp thank you on here as soon as I fix this little smudge here. Be right back. Okay, so this is the piece that I was talking about. And I'm just going to trim off the tab. And then you have a whole nother label, different type of label here. And let's do the thank you. It's right in the center. All right. And then I wanted to show you how to fussy cut this piece. I went close to the black line, this time not leaving any of the strawberry slush showing outside that line. And I went ahead and just did the whole strawberry for this part. You could cut up around there if you wanted to, but I find sometimes it's best to do it this way with the first layer, and then the next layer I'll only cut the top off for the Granny Apple Green leaves. You're better off just moving your paper mostly and not your hands so much. You need to clean up any little areas, do that. And then I will glue down this piece. Whoa, that got crazy. So many times it doesn't even want to come out of the container. And then just layer that on top of your white image. So now I've got inky fingers and sticky fingers. And then I can do just the, Granny Apple Green leaves. So you just have to think through a little bit when you're doing paper piecing. Let me know in the comments if you were a fan of fussy cutting and paper piecing. I know that as we get older, it makes it a little bit more difficult. That would be why I'm wearing my glasses today. Been having trouble with my contacts up close. So I've got my bifocals on today. All right. And then this piece can be glued now over that. Sometimes it's nice for pieces like this to use some little tweezers. And now you can just line that up over, maneuver it around so that it's right where it should be. And then you could fussy cut this out as well if you wanted to, but there is that handy dandy die, so I'm going to die cut that real quick. All right, so I think we have all our pieces ready now, and I have sticky fingers. So let's rearrange a little bit here. We have our ribbon pre-cut and our cute little strawberries and dots. This was a little bit sticky, some of that glue squished out of that, so I may end up with a icky strawberry, but you won't because you'll be more careful than me. All right, so this piece was a 4 by 5¼ inch piece, and I cut it, let me show you. I cut it at 2 inches, so I could just flip that piece over and use it on here. So let's get that on here, and then you'll put glue on the spoons on this 2 inch by 4 inch piece. Just give it those common borders. Now this is some of our new luster, I think it's called, paper. It's kind of a shimmery silver, perfect for the spoon. We're going to do that on one of the other cards, but I wanted to use it in a few different ways. So we're just going to, instead of ribbon right here, we're just going to put this 1/4 inch by 4 inch piece to break that up a little bit. Then we can add our embossed 3 by 4 inch piece. Let's center that on here. Then we have half of this circle right here. So I cut it out and cut it in half. The scalloped oval is actually what it is. And I'm using it as a little tab over here, just to add a little more something to the card. Then we can add, this is from that silver shimmer paper, luster, I think is what it was called, luster specialty paper. And we'll position it right about here, centered. This one you do have to hold down for just a second, I learned. And then let's do a couple of, see, do I have any more left? I don't think so. We'll just cut. What we'll do is just trim a little bit of that off. It's always fun to add some dimension, so use your stamping dimensionals, center that, and then I'll cut a couple of smaller pieces here for the strawberry. Maybe put one up there and down here. Now I want to add this first. So another glue dot or two. Decide how you want it to crisscross. About like that. I think I'll do two, at least two glue dots. One down a little bit further. We can trim it down a little bit if we need to. And then we'll have, this is still a little bit sticky because I had so much glue on it. It's being a little tricky. All right, next, with these cute little flowers, when you want to pop them up, I'll use one mini dimensional right in the middle. Just put it where you'd like it. And then from here, we just need to add our dots. So we've got a large one, a large misty moonlight dot, and then three little strawberry dots that you can just put around randomly. And there is card number 2. All right. I'll be back with card number 3 shortly.
All right, we're back here for card number 3. So let's get busy. This is using the jar die. So it's a card all in itself. How cute is that? So I'll show you how to create the design. Plus, there's a little slit right there so you can put in the spoon. But I created it so that you can't see it on the back here. So let's grab our pieces. I'm also going to share with you how you can use every little bit of your designer series paper if there's not a full image on there. So I'm going to set that. Actually, I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to set some of these things that we don't need right at the moment over here. We'll do some stamping on that. There's our embellishments. All right, so let's talk through what we have to prep. So if you were creating this card from scratch, so you would die cut. Let me grab the die cuts real quick. All right, so here are the die cuts. This is the die cut that I used to cut this out right here, okay? So it creates a card. You can cut it out and then cut it right down the center if you want just the card front, which will be what we're going to do to be able to get this look. And for the card to open, you can kind of see there's a second layer there. So we're going to do that. So this piece will remain just like this. There won't be any stamping involved on this particular piece. So I'll set that aside for the moment. We're going to stamp on these 3 pieces. And I'm going to use the new stamping positioner that will be coming in the catalog in May. So here it is. I've already got the card positioned, or the stamp positioned on here. If you're not familiar with this gadget, this is our brand new stamping positioner, and it has this plate that has these little, I don't know what you call them, things that push in and out, tabs. I've already positioned my stamp, a clear acrylic stamp, polymer stamp on here, and we'll ink that up. We just have to get our paper positioned. So I want to be able to, there's several things. There's another system or piece that comes with this. I think it's right here actually. Let me grab the pad of paper. You can purchase as well the Stampin' Positioner grid paper. I love this little grid paper pad just to have a handy size to have for scratch paper too. So I'm gonna see these little buttons right here? I'm going to lay this on here. It already has the holes in it, and just press that down on there till the paper kind of snaps in. And this will keep the backside of your positioner nice and clean. So from here, it's going to be easier if I just position the paper down like that. Let's play with this a little bit. Sometimes that's what'll happen. I don't think let me see, my measurements are at 5 and 15. All right, so we'll put 5 and 15 right here. Let's see if it's up high enough. Probably need to bump it up just a smidge higher, or you could move that down a little bit more. Okay, I think that's going to get the full image on there. And you really would like to use these little magnets that come with your stamping positioner if possible. I think we're going to have to put them way in the corner so the stamp doesn't actually hit. Okay, I think we're good there. So if we press it down, then it's going to stamp directly on that piece. So we're going to do it in crushed curry. So I'm going to ink my stamp up using my classic stamping pad. Then you'll flip it over, and when you lay it down, just like that, it's not touching the paper at all, okay? So looks like I might want to put a little bit more ink. I see right up in here, it looks like. When you're ready to stamp, just press it down. I kind of like to run my finger around here, and then you get the perfect stamped image. All right, and then we need to do that on the crushed curry as well. This time we're going to need, let's lay this back down just so I can kind of see where I was at. I was about at the 11 and a half right here, or 10 and a half is what it's actually at. So between the 5 and the 15 again, and let me set that down for a minute, and I'll do right about there, because I'm only going to do a portion of the image this time. So let's look and see if that's going to fit and make sure that I'm not going to hit those magnets. All right, so yeah, I want to make sure that I'm stamping this portion and down. So let's ink up our stamp again. And this is where you don't have to ink up the whole thing, but you do want it up to those little scalloped edges. And then this is where the grid paper comes in handy so that you don't get your positioner dirty. So you can see a little bit of residue back there. Okay, that's all we need that for right now. So I'm just gonna set that aside. Now we have these pieces, and let's go ahead while we have our crushed curry out and stamp the You're the Sweetest onto this. Very vanilla is what we're using here. I'm gonna look over a little bit. I just wanna make sure I get it in the scalloped. I think I did do good. All right, now we just need to cut these pieces to have them prepped, and this card comes together pretty quickly. Okay, so first you'll see here that I have a Misty Moonlight scallop behind there. So I'm just going to cut out around the outside of these little dots. Okay, so just like this, just get close but not cut into them, and then just go all the way around. You want to go kind of slow. You want to get as smooth of a cut as possible. So you may have noticed I forgot to put my AirPods back in, and I think I was wearing my glasses earlier, so this is actually a different day that I'm doing this. So I'll get my AirPods in on the next card. All right, so we have that. I think I actually did that one in white, but I did this one in very vanilla, so it just is what it is for this one. But we have some little basic white flowers. Now I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine so we can get these pieces cut. And we will need that piece that I shared a minute ago along with this piece. And I'll show you how we're going to use that. All right, so I just need to line up. I'm going to hold please. Okay, I needed my Post-it tape, so it'll go this way. Try to get in here so you can see it. And you're just lining it up. I may have to even do it like this. You can kind of play around, see if one side works better than the other. Okay, feeling like that's gonna work a little bit better. I'm gonna flip it around this way. All right, I think that looks pretty good. We'll do this one first. This is gonna be the cover, like the top of our card. Okay, now we have that piece. We'll just end up trimming off that little piece in just a minute. But before we do that, let's cut our little slit right in here. So we will position this little piece right above that line right here, holding it in place. You can go all the way through it, or you can just back up like that as well. I need to clean my plate. Looks like I've got a tiny little bitty, I think may just be adhesive. All right, so did you see that? So it cut this little piece right here. Okay, let's see if I can, yeah, that's all it was, some adhesive. Now you can do the same thing with this, or you could also just fussy cut it out. Go right along the line. So that's a tip too. If you didn't have a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine or any type of a die cutting machine, you could always just fussy cut out these images, cut that slit that we just did with an X-Acto knife. So don't ever feel limited by the fact if you don't have a die cutting machine and you don't or can't buy the dies. It just may take you a little bit longer to fussy cut it out. All right, so now we have our pieces. I just need to trim that off. I'll move this over back to my second work table. I think all that's trapped. I'm gonna use my paper trimmer to cut that sliver off. I think line that up on the score line. All right, and I think now it's just time to assemble. So I'm gonna put these on, or this onto there with some dimensionals. I think I can use the last of these. So peel that off and stick it on there and just center it over top like that. And then this piece, you can do it either way. I kind of look at it to line it up, see I like this the best because you barely see that little line. If you do it this way, I felt like you could see the line more. So either way, do a little liquid glue. Maybe we'll do it on, I'm gonna do it, let's see here, right about the nose. This way, none of those cute little images go to waste. I think that looks pretty good. I might have a little bit of glue right there squeezing out. Set that aside. So I was just trying to make a little honey pot. And here are our other pieces. All right, let's put the little spoon topper. So this is what cuts out using this right here. I use some of the new luster paper, I think is what it's called. I'm gonna take just a couple of glue dots and I'm gonna put them on the front down at the bottom. It's like at the very bottom right there, and then I'm gonna do one more. Just a little bit higher up. Okay, so we have, I don't think it got it. That was a stubborn little glue dot. Okay, so we have this little piece. Now this card is just 3 3/4 inches. I turned it this way so I could stick this in and position it here so it'd be about 5 1/4 inches long. That way it'll fit in your envelope just fine. Okay, just like that. Then we have this piece. Now you could either do liquid glue, or I'm just going to use my silicone mat and I'm going to put some glue down like this. I like the silicone mat because the glue doesn't stick to the silicone mat. And then this piece I positioned right about here. You could center it and then snip off either end. I just positioned it right there, and then over here I'm going to snip it off right at that yellow line. The drawback to not having my glasses is that I don't have my bifocals and don't see very well with my contacts sometimes. All right, so we've got that piece. Now let's add this piece and we'll just glue it right on. Don't squeeze too much out. A little works just great. And then line that up. You can move it over just a smidge if you want a little bit of the very vanilla showing on either side and from the bottom even. And then we'll layer this cute little piece of designer series paper, just kind of right down in the center. Bring it down far enough so that your label will be somewhat centered. And then I'm just going to adhere it with the liquid glue right there in the center. And then I'm going to use some mini dimensionals on the back side of these little flowers. We'll tuck one up under right here. And now you can see that was really not that difficult of a card. Super cute, but we do still have to glue it onto here. And we'll get our bow and last embellishments here in minute. And now you can just add your glue close to the edge and then adhere it onto the top panel, the card base. Line it up best you can. So now you're hiding that spoon. You can adhere your little honey bottle, honey bear, wherever you want on here. I just stuck it right down here. If you wanted to add some more paper in there, you could do that. And then the last of our embellishments, we have 2 large Misty Moonlight dots to go in the center of our flowers. See how cute that just finishes it off? And then we'll make us a small little bow. You could have done the die bow if you wanted to. I just thought it'd be fun to incorporate a little bit of the ribbon that coordinates with this sweet. And I usually like to do 2 or 3 dots just to make sure my bow stays in place. Oops, I'm pulling it apart. There we go. Sorry about that. You can leave it long like that, or you can trim it up just a smidge. You'll have plenty of room going this way in your envelope. All right, so there's card number 3. How cute are those? All right, I'll be back with card number 4 in 1 second. All right, card number 4. Remember, we're doing 5 cards this month. How awesome is that? All right, so this one has a fun few techniques on it. We've got our dry embossing. We have our marker coloring. We have the fun notebook paper with the die from the Just a Note set. So still a super simple card, but a lot of detail on it. All right, so let's set it there and pull out our pieces. Here's our embellishments. We'll set to the side, and then all our little pieces. I've already dry embossed for you. So you've got a 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This is 4 by 1 1/4. I'm sorry, 4 by 5. And if you want, you can go through. I did a little texture on this one, so we'll go ahead and do that. I'm just using my nail. Use the edge of your scissors. You could keep your scissors closed and you could go like this if you wanted to. Maybe you have a little edge distressor. I know I have one around here from years back, but all right. So now we'll put down this piece. And I love this tone-on-tone look. I snagged this card design from fellow past artisan Danny. Not sure how you say her last name. I think it's DZAMI, something like that. When I became a 2025 artisan, she actually was an artisan the year before in 2024, and she sent me a welcome card. It was so cute and so beautiful. I have it around here somewhere. Okay, and then I'm gonna just do the same thing with these other designer series papers. This is a 3 by 4 piece. So you could use this card design with any papers and stamps of your choosing in the future. Okay, and as you can tell, I just used this one designer series paper, front and back, and I'm just going to adhere this at an angle. This piece was a 3 by 4, but once I cut it out, it was a little bit smaller, and we can do the exact same thing. Let's just add some extra texture. If you're ever feeling like your card is a little, I still forgot my AirPods. If you ever feel like your cards were a little flat, or it's just needing something, if you heard me or didn't hear me when I was putting those in. There, that's a little bit better. Sorry about that. I'm so used to just going live, and then when I go to record videos, I struggle a little bit because it's a little bit different process. All right, you just kind of roughen up those like you tore it out of a spiral notebook. And adhere that at an angle right about there. Now, I did forget kind of a piece. We probably shouldn't have put this on yet, but we can make it work because we can just tuck it up under there. So this piece was just supposed to go wrapped around that first layer there. So I'm going to get a glue dot, and I'll show you when I improvise or how I have to improvise. So I'm going to put it approximately right down here. Okay,
maybe straighten it up a little bit. I'm going to cut off a little bit of that length so that I can get that tucked up under there. And when you just use a glue dot, that works fabulously. So try to get it straight across and then just lift that up a little bit and tuck it up under there like that. There. So what do we have next? We want these pieces. I'm building the card, and then I guess we're going to do the coloring. I'm going to put these on with some of the negative pieces of my dimensionals. I just go through and cut these into little individual pieces, even if I could use the whole strip. That way they're just ready to go. All right, I only want some going like at the top or top and bottom, because the ribbon's going to go right there and kind of take the place of the dimensionals. It's about the same height, so it'll hold it up there in the middle. If you were to put a dimensional in the middle here, it might pop it, like round it, pop it up a little bit. I am putting it over off center just a little bit. And then this piece, let's get our stamping done real quick. We'll get these pieces here in a minute. So we need to grab our Misty Moonlight ink and our Memento ink. We'll do yours, the sweetest again. You could use any sentiment you want. I'm going to need to clean this real quick. But I think I used this sentiment twice, and then I tried to make sure that I used all the sentiments in the stamp set. I'm going to pull it down here so I can see over the top of it. Try to get it. Yeah, that was okay. I was a little high, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. All right, and then we need to grab our strawberry and blueberry. So we'll just color these similar to what we did in that first card. All right, we just need one of each. Try not to press down too hard. I'm just going to go ahead and put my stamps away while we're at it. I think my ink pad's a little more juicy on this side, I think. Okay, and then just spread them far enough apart that you can die cut them out. And now it's time to grab our stamping blends again. We'll need all the same colors that we used last time. So let's do the dark bullet point. This is Granny Apple Green. I'm just going along that area where that little black line is, and then the stem. And then I can use the brush tip with the light, and that'll just create a little bit of shading. Now, if you're really into coloring and want to go the extra mile, do that. Okay, I'm gonna do the dark first. And I think I'm gonna kind of try to do what I did here. I'm gonna go kind of like that. This is the dark strawberry slush. And I'm gonna go again just to make it extra dark. And then let's bring in the light. Okay, see how it's just a little bit lighter, not a lot. I'm not sure if it'll look as light on that or not. We'll see. Once it kind of soaks in, I think it'll lighten up a little bit. All right, now let's do our Misty Moonlight. This is the dark. So I'm going to go ahead and like color in the center really good. I'll create a little highlight here just to get a little bit more precision. This time I'm using the bullet point. Get fairly dark around there, and then let's just go ahead and do this one too. Okay, then we can come back. I'm just going to use the brush tip on this since it's just a couple of little spots. All right, and now I'm going to take just a second and cut that out and be right back. Okay, there we have that. Now we can build up the rest of our card. So we will use a few dimensionals. This one's going to overlap here a little bit, so I'm just going to put it up here at the top. Maybe put a little bit of glue right there. And go ahead and grab one of my flowers. And just do the exact same thing that we did from the last one. Put a small mini dimensional and then let it overlap here just a little bit. We can go ahead and do these other two because we'll be putting a strawberry and dots embellishment. And just I like to do them in like triangles. All right, and then this one, I think I'm just gonna do, since I just have these little mini dots here, down at the bottom. This one, let's put this down first. I'm just centering it on here. And then the blueberries can go over top, like right in here. Could either use liquid glue here. I'm doing a double bow. So just layer those, but off kilter just a tiny bit. Put enough glue that so you'll want to, you can either go this way or this way. But just one right on top of the other. And then we just need our embellishments, our dots. I decided to do a big one right over top of that. You could have put another flower there if you wanted to, but put a little strawberry slush, a little misty moonlight, and one more little strawberry slush right there. And I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of smudge there. And there we have card number 4. Aren't they so cute? I love them. All right, I'm excited about card number 5, so be right back. All right, so I'm pretty sure this one is my favorite. It's so cute. I used some vellum. We'll do a little bit of heat embossing, or you could just stamp it in black. But if you stamp it in black, you're going to either have to heat set it. We'll try that first and see if it works, the heat setting, without doing the clear embossing powder. I don't know if I tried that yet or not, but this is like a top folding card. So let's bring out these pieces. I just love this cute little topper. You could do either side actually. So maybe we'll change this one up. We'll see. Okay, I think I got all the pieces. Move this back over here so you can see. And again, I've got that dry embossed for you. We'll go ahead and put these pieces together. I think this is my absolute favorite pattern paper. I don't know why. I just love those cute fruits so much. You could fussy cut them out if you wanted to. I did that, I think, on my Global Ink Collective project. All right, so that was 4 by 3, and then this piece is 4 by 2 1/4. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit further right here. There'll be a little bit of a gap, but your ribbon will take care of it because I just want some common borders right here. We need to go ahead and do that ribbon because it'll be underneath the jar. Now, if you wanted to, also you could make that jar to open so you'd have an interactive flap on the front, and then so it'd be considered like a fun fold. All right, so this is just going to wrap around under here. I just need enough. There we go. I'm going to bring it a little bit more. I want it almost here on the very edge because that jar does take pretty much the whole front of the card. This side's a little bit longer, so I'm going to use it to wrap around there. Okay, so I've got that tight, and then you can kind of straighten it and finagle it over here to the very edge. All right, we'll trim those off here in just a minute. So we can set that aside, and we'll need these pieces to create the jar. All right, so I'm going to do the Stampin' Positioner again. I'm going to take all this and bring it over here. So many cute little pieces. This is the one that I used some of that other die set. All right, I need to clean this up first. So without having to take that off, I'm just going to grab my chamois and clean it by hand like this. And kind of just press like you would normally to get into those grooves. I want to make sure you clean up any excess water. I'm going to wave it back and forth just a little bit to dry it. Okay, that should be good. Now, same thing, we want, I think it's going to go this way. We want to position this. I think I gave you plenty to work with right here. Just go up to about the numbers. Now, I do want to, in case we do have to dry emboss, I'm going to go ahead and take my anti-static pouch. I'm going to push this up so you can see a little bit better and go over this a little bit, and that's going to help. If I have to do powder, it won't stick anywhere else. I have it upside down right now, just FYI. I'm going to ink it up in black. Just make sure you get all the areas. Now, another option would be to stamp it in Versamark ink and then emboss it with the black powder. But let's see what we get here. I'm stamping on vellum, and vellum is a different type of paper than your cardstock, so it won't absorb the ink as quickly. So you have to be really careful so you can see that it's wet. Now I am going to I'm going to move this to the side. Let's just set that there for a minute, and let's go ahead and do this piece while we're at it. We'll come back to that. Make sure I don't lose any of these pieces. Okay, we have to remember, let's see where. So up a little bit higher, probably right about there. Again, in between the 5 and the 50. And these are just barely gonna hold the paper down. I'm gonna flip it. This is upside down again. You can tell by the Stampin' Up logo is backwards. So let's get up again. You don't have to do the top necessarily because we're just doing this one similar to the other one. We're actually gonna cut underneath here. This one will dry just fine. All right, so we have that piece now. Set it aside and we can put this back out of the way. All right, we don't need that, but we need to figure out, let's see what we're gonna do with this. I'm gonna grab my heat tool and I'm gonna see if I can just heat set it. It's gonna take a minute for the heat to get hot enough. Flip it around here. I can really see that it's wet right here. I think it is gonna work okay. Let's see. Maybe not. It still looks pretty shiny. So I am going to, it may not all be heat embossed because some of it's dry. Let me find my clear. Here it is. But it's only going to stick where it's wet. Kind of look like it's stuck everywhere. So maybe I'm lying. So there's a little bit right here. This is already pretty hot, so it'll probably go pretty quickly. Right in here is really where I want to make sure that it melts with this other corner. You want to be real careful and not get your fingers or your nice manicured nails. Okay, that should be good. Hopefully I don't have any smudges. I think we're good. All right, and this is also where if you want to die cut it out, you can. If you want to just fussy cut it out, that's totally cool as well. I'm just going to fussy cut it out because it's super simple cuts. And instead of lugging out my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and if you didn't get the dies, then this is just showing you that you can do it this way. So I'd highly recommend getting the dies when they become available. At the time of this recording, I do know that this bundle is out of stock till mid to late April at the moment. So hopefully it'll come back in stock sooner if you haven't gotten your hands on it yet. Just be patient. If you want an exact, well, I can't give you the exact date, but usually they give us a week, like the week of. All right. And now this one, I'm going to, if you can see, I'm going to cut, I'm just going to do kind of a wavy cut. So it kind of looks like there's used jelly, jelly inside there. And then we can glue this on to the vellum piece. It's kind of sticky. And then line it up and layer it down here at the bottom. And then you have this piece. You can go this way or this way, actually. How about we go this way this time, just for something different. And you're just lining it up at the top there. So you can kind of see it comes right to the edge. So you just want to make sure nothing's poking out right there. Now this piece we'll put down with some dimensionals. So we can grab our negative. This one I didn't cut, so watch this. I'm just going to tear it. Well, I didn't mean to do that, but I'm going to do this one right up here. I think I'm going to have to, well, I'll just turn it a little bit like that. And we'll center it wherever, a little bit higher. That way we have some room for our blueberry down here. Then we have that piece again. So let's do the silicone mat with some tape adhesive. I'll just bring this up to work on there and then line it up on there. Then we do have one little stamp we need to do. This was a 1/2 inch by 2 inch piece and we're going to do homemade for you. So let me find my stamps. I think they're hiding underneath here somewhere. I'm not even sure what I did with them. Well, give me a minute while I figure that out. Okay, I found them. If you heard the little crash earlier, I knocked these off plus my chamois. All right, so I'm doing homemade for you. I'll clean that off and put that away. And we'll do Misty Moonlight on this piece right here. And I gotta get my head possibly in here. There we go. This piece will go on that crushed curry label, and at 1/2 inch by 2 inches, that fits just perfect in there. And I think I did do dimensionals, yes. And we're just building this up before we layer it onto there. Okay, then we need our little white bow. It can go, you can put it on here however you want to position it. Gonna let it sit there for a second to adhere. And then let's build out our cute little fruit. I just love these so much. All right, we'll do the blueberry first. So this one is cut with, I think I did two-tone cardstock, Misty Moonlight, and then this was some of the designer series paper. This is another one of those that you could just use some of your tape runner. There's another thing that I've got sticky fingers, so things keep sticking to my fingers. And then this one, we'll put just a little bit of glue right here and tuck it up under the back. We'll let that sit for just a second. And then let's do our cute little strawberry slush cherries. And they'll just go right in here, overlapped a little bit. And then I like the idea of just doing this again. Since these pieces are so tiny and skinny, just position it so that they'll curve into one another like that. And then I think I did do dimensionals on these little leaves. So I'll just put one on the back of each leaf. These are just the cutest. You could do just one or you could do two. Totally up to you. And then I might do one little dimensional right out here on the edge, and the rest is going to lay on the edge of the, okay, I'll put that on once we get it on here. Let's put this away. Same thing with that. We'll go ahead and add our little, this is the little die cut heart. Whoops, see what I mean? I got sticky fingers. And then let's do some dimensionals just to lift this up off the card. And just as a reminder, when you do use lots of dimension, you'll have to add some extra postage. So keep that in mind. If you're being conservative, then now you want to make sure you don't put any of these dimensionals behind the vellum where you can see it, that open spot. So down at the bottom and then right up here behind the fabric part of the lid. All right, and then this, you can tilt it a little bit if you want, or just put it right on there straight. Fills it up pretty. I think I tilted it just a smidge and centered it. Now I can add this. Do you want it to be a little bit closer? I might take that off this time to get it tucked under there. I think it'll be just fine without a dimensional. And we can use that dimensional, hopefully. It's still sticky enough right there. And we should have one little dot that you can put in the center there. If you want to trim up your tails a little bit, do that. So then there's just a little bit poking out there. Maybe tighten it up. There we go. All right. So those are a little bit different because I used the back side of the pattern paper. All right. There is our homemade sweetness craft along class. I'll move out the extra cards. Maybe do it like this. Whoops. So you can see them all. And we have that one. This was such a fun craft along. Absolutely loved it. So I hope you enjoyed it too. If you're just watching the video and you have the products, you know what? I will make the PDF available for $15, but it'll be next week or the end of the week before it's ready, just FYI. And those of you that have placed your $50 online purchase the month of March, so you still have one more day from the time of this video. So today is March 30th, and you'll have till the end of March 31st to place your order to get this kit, your card kit, for free. I'll mail that to you by the end of the week, and then I'll email you the PDF as well when I ship the kit. Then you can also purchase it, the kit, the class and kit, for $25. So you have the option of getting it for free with a $50 or more order, purchasing it just for $25, and you get the PDF and the kit with all the paper pre-cut and all of that, just like you would if you'd gotten it free. Or you can purchase the PDF for $15 at the end of the week. So thanks for joining me again. If you have any questions whatsoever, be sure to leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Bye-bye.